Hello, everyone. Good evening, or whatever time of the day it is that you're watching this video. All right, so I've been listening to a lot of Metallica lately, and Metallica is up there with some of my favorite bands. And I've been listening to Metallica my whole life, but recently I listened to it because I want to make this video, and I want to rank Metallica's albums from worst to best. We all know Metallica has their 80s thrash metal roots, which is absolutely amazing. And then they have their 90s not so amazing stuff. And then we have present day Metallica, which we kind of don't know what they're doing. But since we're all bored in quarantine, I'm working from home because I'm still not 100% healthy to go back to work. I thought I'd make this video. Now, I included Metallica's official releases. There is one live album in here that includes two new tracks for the time new, and also one compilation. I did not include Live Shit, Binge and Purge, the box set, just because it's all previously released live stuff. But like I said, the one live album I did include has two new tracks on there. There are live tracks, not studio, but I include them anyway. All right, so we're ranking them from worst to best. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 albums to rank. Coming in at the worst, again, this is all my opinion. Coming in at the worst is Saint Anger. When Saint Anger came out, or before it came out, I heard a lot of things about Metallica going back to the roots, being speed metal again, thrash metal, whatever you want to call it. So I was excited. So when this piece of shit came out, it was just 7 minute, like 6, 7 minute, just sounds like rehearsal jams. There's not a single guitar solo on here. The production is terrible, and the production is done by Bob Rock, who is not my favorite producer, but he also did albums. He did the Black Album, and he did stuff like Dr. Feelgood from Motley Crue. He also did Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. So, he did big selling albums. But this is just trash. Like, it's not even... to this day, came out 2003, I believe, and 2020, 17 years later, I still am not able to listen to this all the way through. The one thing I do like about this album is that it came with the CD, and it also came with a, here it is, came with a DVD of the whole album played in the studio as rehearsals. Not that it was great, but I do like the idea of that. So yeah, Saint Anger is definitely last. Next up was one album I just had to listen to today, so I can get my opinion, and it's another one of their least or most hated albums. It's Load. Came out in 1996 after the success of the Black Album. For this album, I feel like Metallica tried to get away from their metal roots, definitely tried to get away from the thrash, and tried to blend in with the 90s alternative, definitely on the radio. I remember tracks like Until It Sleeps and King Nothing being played on my alternative radio station here in Philadelphia, along with the rock stations. So Metallica totally just did away with their roots and being true to themselves and put this garbage out. I listened to it today. Being that I grew up with, this is the Metallica I grew up with. I was like 10 years old when this came out. So I'm very familiar with this, although I haven't listened to it in quite some time. There are a couple tracks on here that I kind of just brainstormed or daydreamed, and I don't remember hearing them. So Load is, not much better than Saint Anger. Next up is the follow-up to Load, which came out in 97. This is Reload. I like this better than Load. All the tracks on there are, I'm not saying they're strong, but they're, in my mind, they're listenable. The one track I think is Low Man's Lyric, which completely blows. It's like Metallica, they put a piano on there, and it sounds like a carousel. But the last track on their Fixer is a decent ending to it, as opposed to the ending on Load, which was The Outlaw Torn. Believe it or not, a lot of people hate The Unforgiven 2, but I actually like it. It's one of the Metallica songs that I liked when I was younger when it came out. But all these songs are kind of more memorable than the stuff on Load. I could look at the titles and I can hum along and sing a little lyrics from each song. Next up is Metallica's latest release. This is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I bought this when it came out. This is actually the 3 CD deluxe edition. Um, I believe there is 12 tracks on here divided onto 2 CDs. The first CD is pretty strong. It has Hardwired, Atlas Rise, Moth into the Flame, which they played on the radio, which are the hits. So the first CD is listenable. The second disc, out of the 6 songs, I make maybe 2 or 3 that I remember. The rest were just filler. And then it ends with Spit Out the Bone, which is probably the strongest track of this decade. Let me rephrase, strongest track of this album. But yeah, I bought the 3 CD deluxe edition. The third disc here, it's not listed on there, but it has some live stuff. Also has a unreleased track called Lords of Summer. A track called Ronnie Rising Medley, which is a tribute to Ronnie James Dio as some of Ronnie's solo stuff. Stuff from Rainbow. When a Blind Man Cries, which is actually the unreleased track from Deep Purple's Machine Head that to do a cover of. Deep Purple didn't release it on Machine Head because they felt it didn't fit on that album. And then the cover of Iron Maiden's Remember Tomorrow. That's Paul Di'Anno, or Iron Maiden, not Iron Maiden. Then there's like 10 Metallica live songs, mostly from, or all from Kill 'Em All, and a couple from Ride the Lightning, and then Hardwired live. Yeah, again, Metallica trying to go back to their early days, and not really a strong album by them. Alright, next up is a live album. This is S&M. S&M stands for Symphony and Metallica. So, the reason this is on here is I bought this when I was younger, and this introduced me to a lot of stronger early Metallica stuff. Features Michael Kamen's Symphony, which is actually decent, but the one single off here was No Leaf Clover, which I actually liked back in the day, and the other new track was Mine is Human. It's worth a listen. They do a lot of stuff in the Black Album. I mean, they could have did better, but it is what it is. Sorry I'm touching my face so much. I get allergies. Alright, next up is probably the strongest album Metallica has done this decade, past the year 2000. It's Death Magnetic. This was the follow-up to Saint Anger, and the single The Day That Never Comes was released before this album came out, and it was like 7 to 8 minutes of, it's got a great guitar solo on it. It kind of was like that slower track like One or Fade to Black was. But yeah, this is a pretty strong album. It definitely goes back to their roots. It has the one instrumental like Ride the Lightning and Master Puppets had, which is called Suicide and Redemption. The only track I don't like off here is the Unforgiven 3. Like, it wasn't necessary. No reason to make an Unforgiven 3. But yeah, Metallica, Death Magnetic. Came out in 2008, and strong album, and listened all the way through. Like I said, The Unforgiven 3 I could do without, but ends with My Apocalypse, which I think is an amazing song. And this is actually produced by Rick Rubin, who, as we all know, has done some great production, especially with Slayer. Next up is the album that we like to call Metallica's sellout album. This is the Black Album, or self-titled Metallica. Real quick, the reason I'm showing my CDs is because I own all Metallica on CD. On vinyl, I own the first album up until the Black Album. So, I think we all know the Black Album. It's got probably Metallica's most famous song, Enter Sandman, has the ballad, Nothing Else Matters. For me, I think the strongest songs on here are definitely Sad But True. I still like The Unforgiven. I know it's played out, but I like it. Through the Never, and The God That Failed, I think they're the strongest songs for me. But I can't really say much about that. I mean, everyone knows about that album. I'm sure a lot of people sold it. Alright, next up is the compilation I was talking about. It is Garage Incorporated. This is the one Metallica CD I bought when it came out, and I was in love with it. The second disc features the Garage Days Revisited 590 ADP. Also has stuff from '84 with Cliff. So, growing up as, '90s Metallica with Jason Newsted. This was my introduction to Cliff. Am I Evil, Blitzkrieg, Bread Fan, The Prince, Stone Cold Crazy, which was a Queen cover, So What, Killing Time, and then it ends with a 4-song Motorhead covers. The first disc isn't as strong. Features Sabracadabra, which also has part of the Black Sabbath song National Acrobat in it, which I absolutely love. I don't care. Still love the song. The hit single from this was Bob Seger's Turn the Page, which they covered. Misfits cover, Die Die My Lord, Darling, Lover Man, which I think was Nick Cave, Merciful Fate, which is obviously Merciful Fate. And then they do a cover of, Whiskey in a Jar was another hit single. Traditional Irish tune that Thin Lizzy made famous. Then they do a cover of Tuesdays Gone by Leonard Skinner, which I absolutely hate. I hate Leonard Skinner, but no reason to do Tuesdays Gone. Alright, now we're getting to the final 4 Metallica albums. The strongest that Metallica's ever done. Number 4 is Kill 'Em All, Metallica's debut album. Most of these songs were written by Dave Mustaine, who, famously has Megadeth. Is the frontman for Megadeth. It's his band. Kill 'Em All, like I said, Metallica's debut. This is actually remastered on Blackened Records. Yeah, strong album. Features the amazing Cliff Burton instrumental Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth, Hit the Lights, Four Horsemen, which I think every guitar player should learn. Also Seek and Destroy is on here, Metal Militia, which ends it, which is just super fast. Kill 'Em All is amazing, but it's not as great as the other albums Metallica released pre-Black Album era. Next up is probably my current favorite Metallica album, but just because it's my favorite, I can't rank it at number 1. And Justice for All. Released after Cliff Burton's death. Jason Newsted just joined the band. However, Jason Newsted's tracks were taken out on the final issue of Justice for All. Just an amazing album. The guitar solos are insane. Hetfield's voice is at the peak, in my opinion. He's just angry. This is the album that really, really put Metallica on the map. In the mainstream, with the single from One in the music video and being on MTV and the Grammys and all that. Just an amazing album. I mean, if you don't know it, go listen to it. Not much more to say about it. Next up is Ride the Lightning. Probably not the first Metallica album I owned, but the first true Metallica album I owned. Believe it or not, when I bought this, had to be late 90s. Back then we didn't have internet. We couldn't look on the internet and look up lyrics and see what else. We just had to listen to radio and try to figure out the names of songs. And The Memory Remains was the hit signal at the time. And in the song, when he says Fade to Black, I thought that was the name of the song. And I was like, oh, I'm Metallica. I like Metallica. I like that song. Let me buy a Metallica CD. So I saw this had a song called Fade to Black, so I bought it. Little did I know this album was going to blow me away. And honestly, this may be my all-time favorite Metallica album. The artwork is amazing. Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Look to the Sky one last time just before you die. It's the last time you will. That line always got to me. And then to the hit single, which gets a lot of radio play now, but I don't think it did back then. Fade to Black, which was the selling point for me. Trapped Under Ice, Escape, which is kind of like a laid-back, relaxing, chill song. And then we go into Creeping Death, which is amazing. One of Metallica's best songs. And then finally, we end with the instrumental, The Call to Cthulhu, which is just flawless. One of my favorite instrumentals of all time. And it's no surprise what number 1 is going to be. Probably what most people would think Metallica's greatest album is. And as you could tell, the album I haven't listed yet. Number 1 is Master of Puppets. Flawless, every single song on there. The opening acoustic chords right into the fucking thrash of Battery. And then we have Master of Puppets, the song itself, which to me still doesn't get old. There's so many different parts in that song and such great arrangements. And then it goes into the thing that should not be, Welcome Home, Sanitarium, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, then the instrumental Orion, and then finally it ends with Damage Incorporated, which is just a full-on thrash metal classic. And there's not much I can say about this album, as I've been said already. I recommend go checking out there's a documentary on YouTube right now. Um, I don't know if it's called The Making of Master Puppets, but it's a documentary about Master Puppets. It's authorized by Metallica. And there's a lot of cool information I didn't know, like Cliff Burton showing James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett some guitar lines he was writing on the tour bus, where sadly he died during this tour, Master Puppets, which obviously probably made it onto And Justice for All. But yeah, this is actually not only Metallica's greatest album, but probably up there as one of the greatest albums of all time, and definitely one of the most influential. So yeah, that's my rank of the Metallica albums. I'll go through them again. There's actually 12. I think I said 13 at the beginning of the video. I think Hardwired messed me up. So I'm going to go over it again real quick. Number 13, Saint Anger. Number 12, Load. 11 is Reload. 10, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. 9, S&M. 8, Metallica, Death Magnetic. 7 is the self-titled Metallica album, Sorry for the Glare, famously known as the Black Album. Sorry, I lost count. Number 8 was Garage Incorporated, which included the 598 EP. Kill 'Em All, number 9. I should be counting down, right? Yeah, sorry. Number 3, And Justice for All. Number 2, Ride the Lightning. And of course, number 1, the masterpiece, Master Puppets. Okay, everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Everyone stay safe out there, stay healthy. Let's knock this coronavirus thing out so we can get out and have a good time again. And, check out my other videos. I'm probably doing a lot since I got a lot of free time. Also, head over to theelysiumsrock.com. That is the website of my band, and check out the stuff we've been doing there. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.